Battlefield 1, the post-launch. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's Gladys back here once again, and joining me once again, and as always, are Doing Work.
Hello.
And Cryptic Panther.
What's up?
And welcome to the Bottlefield podcast, where the tanks are OP and the points don't matter. Looking at you, Panther. This is our first podcast since the launch of Battlefield 1, so we'll be covering our impressions, elations, and concerns. DICE has taken a step back with this iteration of Battlefield and makes an old setting feel new and incredibly exciting. We've come a long way in FPS gaming since the days when World War II shooters dominated the market, and it's been a long time since a AAA developer took a chance on not doing a modern or futuristic shooter. DICE's gamble really paid off by choosing World War I to place this game in, and it's got a massively positive reception from critics and gamers alike. Here's our thoughts on the game so far. Panther, take it away.
All right, first thing, before I get into my thoughts on the game, this switching to World War I has really increased everyone's interest in World War I. There's more and more information about World War I everywhere now on the internet. I mean, on the Battlefield 1 subreddit, there's a shitload of World War I posts all the time. I think that is really cool.
Yes.
So, all right. So, a little over a weekend, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. Bravo, DICE.
Should we say butter, not bravo?
Oh yeah, sorry. Butters DICE. There we go.
Butters DICE.
This game is a huge improvement over BF4, launch and current state. That's in my opinion, but launch for sure, in so many ways. We talked about the visuals and the sound in the beta, which we all agree were awesome. Now the full game is here, and I don't think I could be happier with the visuals, with the sound, with the gameplay. Right now I'm playing through, and actually I just barely finished playing through the campaign the other day, and this campaign beats the BF4 campaign by miles. It actually takes the Battlefield 4 campaign out behind the woodshed and does real nasty things to it, then kills it with a lead pipe. I'm happy with what they did with the campaign. I was worried it was going to be another, shit fest that Battlefield 4 was. But I was impressed with it. I'm not going to throw in any spoilers or anything, but I imagine most people, if you haven't played it, I say give it a run through because it was fun. I had a blast. But we're going to move on with my likes and my dislikes. So, like I already said, visuals and sound, amazing. So that's like top of my like list. I think map design for the most part is really good. I don't find spawning on one side or the other gives you an advantage. I know in Battlefield 3 and 4 there was the odd time if you spawned on one side you were happier than the other. Maybe I just haven't played enough of the maps repeatedly to form an opinion, but I'm liking the maps. And for gameplay, I'm finding the hit detection and like there's no lag and that weird run behind a wall still getting shot. Like that type of stuff that we dealt with in Battlefield 4 doesn't seem to be there. So I mean they've learned their lessons that way. And it's just a lot tighter. I mean there's still little weird things that happen, but overall I think the gameplay, it was a massive improvement over their last Battlefield title, and I'm really happy with that. There's lots of other likes, but we'll cover those with the other guys as we go through. So I have a few dislikes. The menu. It looks pretty, but that's about it. I'm not happy with the menu. Just for the fact is, I don't need to see YouTubers' videos on the main page. I know we talked about this in a previous podcast, and there's been other people talk about it on Reddit and some other forums online. I mean, it's all good for them to put out content. I'm not going to begrudge them for having a YouTube career. I mean, I'm wrong with that. But I just think if they're going to keep those videos, either put them on a separate tab or give me an option to turn them off. I don't need to be told how to play my game. If I want this information, I know where to seek it out. But people who don't, it's good for them. But put it on a tab titled tutorials. That way I don't have to look at it. The end screen menu, when it works, I don't like it either. I don't care about seeing people's avatars and what their scores were. I'm worried about my score and my progression and my squad's mate's score and my friends that are online with me. I don't really care if some random dude got 39 heals, or it doesn't influence my gameplay. I'm not going to seek that guy out. I'm not going to send him a friend request because he got 39 heals in one game, or he was the best sniper. It doesn't make a difference to me. We don't need to see that. Also, the quit option. It'd be nice if that stayed longer than 12 seconds.
Right?
God. You get into a game and you're like, you want to leave. It's all I want to see if I got a battle pack. I might want to see if I did make the end screen or if any of my friends made the end screen. But if you wait that long, guess what? You can't quit until the fucking next game loads.
Yeah. It's like right at the end of the battle pack emblems.
It's almost quicker to quit out of the game entirely and load it back up.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
And in the last couple of days, my end screen hasn't loaded just to get a fucking loading screen sitting there. So if we're quitting out, second that comes up and I get no avatar screen, I just quit. If I get a battle pack, it's gonna show up later anyway. You don't lose your battle pack if you quit out, because I've quit out and still got a battle pack. So
right.
There's lots of other problems with the menu, but I know a couple of you fellas have a couple of comments, so I'm not going to delve way too deep into that. I have some other things I want to dislike. They nerfed the light tank, like they said they were going to. It's now made of paper mache.
Damn it, mache.
Fuck. I don't know. People kept calling tanks OP in the beta, and I know that light tank, man. I rolled around with that a lot when I played the beta, and I loved the little thing. But now it's like you're driving a fucking paper mache death machine because you just get killed big time. Like, it doesn't take long, and you're taking damage from another tank. Anti-tank grenades pretty much stop you in your tracks. 2 rocket guns, and you're disabled. Like, you got no way of defending yourself. There's no reason they nerfed it as much as they did. I think they over-nerfed it. But, that's my opinion.
What do you think would fix that? Do you think adding a gunner or upping the damage?
Adding a gunner, but I just seem like it doesn't take long for all of a sudden you're fucking damaged beyond, and you can't, the repair takes too long. You can't sit in the open, because the second you get, 1 bit of damage, the repair stops. So, it's unless you have someone following you around and actually repairing you with a wrench, it doesn't take long for you to be out of that tank or dead. I don't know, they need to buff the armor on it a little tiny bit. I'm not wanting it to be, impenetrable and unstoppable, but I think, they need to up the damage on it a little bit. I'm not looking for it to be OP, as everyone keeps calling it in the beta, but I like to see it improved. I think they went a little too far. That's my opinion. I
like to see light tanks as almost like a glass cannon. Like, weak, fast and agile, but not very armored, but they can do big time damage. Like, you got to do something about it right now, but it doesn't take much to do something. And then heavy tanks on the other side, lots of machine guns. It takes a long time to kill them.
The thing with the heavy tank is, it takes a lot of damage. Like, it does.
And their main gun is like crazy strong.
And I think the main gun needs to be toned down. I think it does too much damage to vehicles, because anytime you take a light tank, and if you're anywhere at all close to them, they can just spin on that. I know you have the advantage of a 360 gun on the light tank versus the center fire gun on the heavy, but
like you said earlier, it turns so fast. It's almost the same.
Yeah, and you can't do enough damage to it, like, even with 2 shots compared to 1 against you, to slow it down. You don't force their hand to stop engaging you so the 2 of you can try to hide and cover and keep fighting. He just sits there and laughs at you while he spins on his axis and fucking annihilates you. Because 2 hits and you're done, and you're to the point where you can't keep fighting. You have to repair yourself or bail on your tank. And in this game, bailing on a tank is not an option, because if they steal it, your team's down a fucking tank for the rest of the match.
And when you've only got 1 or 2,
or you get one of your teammates take the tanks and drive it into a trench and you can't get it out as well. That's always interesting. But I think when the tank size, those two dislikes kind of run together. The light tank, I think, was nerfed a little too much, and I think the heavy tank, either maybe take the light tank and buff the damage of the turret if they're not going to increase the damage or the ability of its armor. Buff up the damage it can do against the tanks, because 1-on-1 against a tank, the heavy is going to beat you pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Yep. I know this has been a hot discussion with a lot of us for the last week, is the airship. My first opinions, it wasn't a big problem. In most maps, I haven't had big issues with it. I haven't played a lot of operations where it was a problem. I guess because I've been playing a lot of Conquest. It's an issue in Monagrappa, I'll tell you that much, in Conquest.
Yeah.
If you don't have teammates that will take it down. takes a lot of damage, and it should. It deals a lot of damage, and it should. It's a game changer. It's what they're designed for. But after playing on a team that didn't know how to deal with it and wouldn't deal with it, like, I mean, I saw planes just completely ignoring it. I saw people sitting in the AA shooting at tanks while the airship was over top bombarding the piss out of us. You know, I mean, it's teammates required, you know, it's teamwork required to take it down, but I think it is a bullet sponge. I think it takes way too much damage. And the, what do you call the baskets in the bottom? They're called turrets, or the bottom pieces. What the hell?
Like undercarriage.
Yeah, the undercarriage piece. You can the turrets.
Oh my god.
Whatever. Gondolas.
You missed it today.
Gondolas,
No, doing school kept calling them turrets with an N.
Nice. But I think if they respawn, which I'm kind of on the fence about, they respawn too fast. If they're gonna make them where they're destroyable, then leave them off for a longer period of time, so that you can focus fire to get those off. That way, the only thing you have to worry about is the driver dropping bombs. Will give you an advantage on the ground to then work on it to take it out. So if they're gonna be destroyable, leave them off the vehicle a lot longer. But like I said, yeah, they need to do something with the damage, or they need to work how much damage is done by other ships. I mean, I know you mentioned Baker. You said the big turret guns on Monograppa don't do enough damage to it.
Nope.
See, that, to me, in my mind, those would be the go-to. So as far as my mind, the airship pilot better get his ass over there and bombard the piss out of those first.
Well, especially because they should be the focus. Yeah. Aside from anti-air, I think those should do the most damage. Those rounds are huge, and they are destroyable from the very top of it, like from the outside and from the inside. Right. So it should be the team's goals on that map specifically to get rid of those things to protect your airship.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
but they're just not effective enough, because for the people listening to this, I mean, I've already told you guys the story, but I was in one of the bunker gun turrets, and I put steady fire, like as soon as I could fire, I did. So maybe every 3 seconds, 4 seconds or so, for about 3 solid minutes without stopping, just nonstop fire on the airship. And I didn't even bring it down to a quarter health. Like, it's just ridiculous how much sustained fire I put on that with the biggest gun in the game.
Were you shooting the main body of it?
Yes.
Or what does it do for the undercarriage?
The main body of it.
Did you shoot the
I think I got 20 damage or 22 damage each.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because you would think that thing would 2, maybe 3 shots.
Blow a hole right through it.
Like it should, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely. Like I said, I know that was the ban. And I'd never get into one of those turrets when the airship was there, so I can't really say much for that. But yeah, I know you were saying that how shitty that was, and I agree that they need to change some of the damage models on it. Like I said, it just DICE likes to nerf and to buff stuff, and then it's like, oh, now this fucking thing is no good at all, or this here was OP that everyone used, like the M16 in Battlefield 3. I mean, fuck, how many people had 1,000 fucking server stars with that? Because it's all the fuck they used, because it was OP. You know, how many people used the FAMAS until they nerfed it and made it useless? Everyone stopped using it. You know, I mean, there's history of DICE making stuff good, making it a little OP. People,
they seem to go too far one way or another.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm scared with the airship. All of a sudden, it's going to be, people think it's OP, and then it's going to be, 2 guys with a fucking, with rocket guns will take it down in 9 seconds, and it's going to be useless. So then it's no longer it's going to turn the tide like they're designed for.
Well,
so
I think the thing with it being a bullet sponge is the problem. It's certainly powerful. There's no argument at all for me that it's not powerful. I think it's just powerful enough because it's got the undercarriages where independent people can, put fire down. They do plenty of damage. I don't think damage is a problem.
No.
I think that the amount of health that it has seems to be the problem with me, because like I said, I should not be able to have sustained fire for several minutes on it. When a match, will only last, I don't know, between 20 and 30 minutes usually, give or take.
Right.
I shouldn't be spending sometime, hypothetically, I could spend a quarter of the match non-stop putting fire on this with the biggest controllable weapon in the entire game. It shouldn't have that much health if it's that damage, like, powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
So if it had less accurate weapons, like you would think for the time period, they shouldn't be lasers. If the weapons were less accurate but still as powerful, and it took that much damage, I wouldn't really say a word. I really wouldn't. Because, yes, it would be a threat, but it wouldn't be deadly accurate to where it can take over a map. So we could deal with it in time. It wouldn't need necessarily as big of a focus. But it could still change the game for that team that got it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be more balanced.
I agree.
I don't necessarily think that it needs such a health nerf that it goes away in a minute or 2 minutes. But the amount of fire that I put on it just absolutely did not feel fair.
So yeah, like, I mean, that was the discussion. Like, I feel that needs to be, listened to is, you need to make some changes. They just need to decide which is the best changes to make. And I think changing some of the damage that certain weapons do to it, and or its full overall damage, because I mean, it's designed to take your team off the objectives and fight it, and that's what it's good for. But I mean, we were on a match and the team had got it fairly early in the round, and we spent most of the round trying to take the damn thing down, and it never changed the game because the team that was driving, lucky enough the team that was in the airship, weren't doing the, they weren't using it to the best of their abilities. So sometimes it's it could just flies around and does no damage because the team doesn't know how to use it. But in the right hands, I think it's a massive game changer. And like I said, I do believe the damage model of it needs to be changed for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a tool, and this is like we talked about for the beta. The point is to, like you said, take people off of the objectives to force them to contend with this thing instead. And with any tool, like a hammer is not going to be as useful for a painter as it is for a carpenter. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're skilled with this and you know how to use it, then you're going to disrupt the map more, and you're going to get the enemy focusing on you more. And that is what it is for. It's just right now I feel like it's kind of unfair.
Right. I do as well.
Now here's a question I was talking with my kid about earlier. After you got off, Baker, we played Amiens, and we were losing, and the train came in, and him and I got into the train, and the team actually kind of rallied up, and I think we were down, 200, 250 tickets when the train came in, and by the time the enemy team destroyed it, we were still losing, but we had brought it back to within like 25 or 30 tickets. And him and I both kind of agree that that's kind of where the behemoth should land. Like, I don't feel like it should totally turn the tide and take the losing team to winning, but it should bring it back to a, I don't want to say fair because that's not the right word, but you see what I'm getting at. Like, it should bring you back into like, all right, we can do this now.
If you will.
Like, I think we can get there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I would say. Arguably, the entire point of the thing is.
Yeah.
It's to give the losing team a hand and give them a step back up and say, okay, you're getting pounded right now. Here's this to help you out. It should help.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. We played it over the weekend when we couldn't get into Conquest. We were playing Operations, and whenever, especially on the wide open map, and I can't remember what it was called now. I don't think it was Monte Grappa. I forget which operation it was, but whatever it was, we were defending, and the enemy team started with an airship and just crushed us. There was no cover, just crushed us.
It's broken on Operations for sure.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe
without
they
a doubt.
in with it. It wasn't even like you get down to so many tickets. It was just like, here you go, right out of the gate.
Well, if they lose one of their attempts, they get an airship as like their reinforcements with their next wave. So they start it with the airship on the next round. That's why, because it goes in stages. They get 3 attempts.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the airship, like I said, definitely in the hands of the right person right now is a little. No, we'll use the term OP because I mean it seems to be the word of the year, but.
Yeah, unbalanced.
Yeah, we'll say it's a little unbalanced when it comes to certain points in the game, and like I said, there's going to be a patch coming. I just hope they don't go too fucking far with it to the point where, the airship becomes just a fucking, oh, well, it's a fucking piece of shit. No one wants to be in it. That's what I'm worried about. Like, they need to make, even if they have to patch it 3 fucking times to get it right, don't go from, oh shit, it's fucking, it's unbalanced, oh my god, this thing's a complete piece of shit, to, oh shit, it's back to where it was at launch, oh shit, don't do that. Like, if they got to patch it and then, and tweak it, I mean, I've got a problem with some tweaks coming in, but don't go from one end of the scale to the other. They need to try to level it out as soon as possible to make everybody happy, but I think there's options for them to do it, and I think changing the damage model on it's probably the first thing they need to do.
Yeah.
And my last point on my dislikes is horses. I like being on the horses. I find them a little glitchy every once in a while. Like, you kind of get stuck on weird shit. I got stuck on a pillar on Ballroom Blitz, and I couldn't get off it. I was like spinning around in the fucking circle on this post, and the guy was just standing there while I was trying to kill. He just stood there and watched me. I had to get off the horse to kill him because I couldn't fucking get the horse off the pillar. Then the horse just floated into the pillar and stayed there for the rest of the game, or until someone killed it, because later on I went back and it wasn't there. But I think that the hitbox on the horses encompasses too much of the rider. I know the horse is supposed to take quite a bit of damage because it is a vehicle. It's how it's classed. It's supposed to take. If you're shooting the horse, you're not going to do with an MP18. You're not going to do like a 5-hit kill on a horse. But if I'm shooting the back of the rider, it shouldn't count as horse damage. It should count as rider damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be rewarded with true damage to the rider based on your accuracy.
I think that
targeting.
I think the hitbox on the back of the horse when you're sitting on it covers part of the rider. I don't know if the front and back are the same. I haven't gotten into a server, an empty server and done testing and hit damage. But anytime I played a game, it always seems you're shooting at the guys. You're not aiming for the rider, unless you're panicking and shooting at the horse because you got no other choice. But you're shooting at especially a rider riding away from you, and I'm shooting him in the back, watching hit markers pop up, and just see the damage marker 13 for the horse. That happens way too often. And It's the same thing when he's coming towards you. You're trying to shoot the rider off, and you're hitting too much horse. You're hitting too much of the horse. So, I think they need to adjust the hit boxes for the horse and rider a little bit. Other than that, I fucking hate horses because you can't get out of the way of them fast enough. And I don't know, man. I like them and I don't like them. I like them when I'm using them, I guess. They hate them when anyone else uses them.
Yeah, right.
They're OP in the enemy's hands. No, but seriously, I think if they made them a little louder, maybe. Like, every once in a while, a horse kind of seems to come out of fucking nowhere.
Yep.
Like, I think maybe either the gallop noise or the bay noise of the horse, you want to call it, needs to be a little bit more pronounced or louder, maybe, to kind of alert you to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
on a side note, I would also say, while we're on the subject of that, the bayonet charge is about half and half for me. Sometimes I hear it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll just die, and then I'll hear like a fading kind of war cry and know that I got bayonet charge.
Yeah. Or kill feed. So I don't know if that's. Yeah. I know one of our other friends mentioned it too when he was listing some of the problems he was having, and I never had a lot of them. But as I played the game a little bit more, there's been the odd time that you didn't hear the bayonet charge. But I think hopefully those will get fixed in a patch. But my biggest issue with horses is the hitbox on it. They need to fix it. That there's that the riders the main encompassing on the top of the horse somehow. I don't know how they can code it, but DICE fix the fucking horses.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm fine with leg shots counting as horse shots, but anything like waist up.
Exactly.
And even if they want to make it headshots only when I'm facing the horse because of the height and I'm firing up, like I can even get down with that. But you're right. I mean, from the back, from the side, anything from the waist up should be, chest headshot, just like you're standing on foot.
Yeah.
To the rider.
Pretty much. Okay. So that wraps up Panther's thoughts. Let me go through mine, and I'll try to be brief as I can. I've got War and Peace written here on my notes, so I'll try to run through these quickly because we're already hitting.
You didn't see everything I typed before I condensed it down, did you?
I think that I peeked at it. I didn't read through it though.
I might have had you beat. I don't know. It was pretty close.
I don't know. All right, so for the likes, and we're probably gonna overlap on a lot of these points.
Imagine that.
But yeah, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So for the likes, graphics are gorgeous, beautiful, and everything. Very well done. The sound, as everyone has commented on, is absolutely top notch. There's not a single thing that I can think of that doesn't sound fantastic. The weapons feel like they have weight to them, especially support weapons, and that's a real cool thing for me because a lot of weapons, like our sister franchise of Call of Duty, our fellow FPS franchise, they all feel extremely quick and light, and like you're running around with a banana in your hand. Like they don't feel like they have any weight, any type of like heaviness to them, nothing at all. These ones feel like they do. They feel more real, as in like somebody's actually carrying this thing. Like it's just a cool thing. One thing that I've noticed. Map design is good for the most part, except for, I will say, Suez. I can't stand how linear it is, and it is the new Operation Metro or Locker. If you get pushed back to your spawn, if you lose all 3 points, there's almost no cover from the spawn. So I've seen spawn trapping happen on almost every single game that I've played, and the biggest win-loss that I've seen is by 800 tickets on that map, and that is just insane.
That's
that is
crazy.
awful design to even allow that. Even the worst team should have some type of cover to get near an objective, but it's basically wide open desert from the spawns, and that is awful.
Yeah.
Other than that, the map design has been fantastic. I have no complaints for anything else. But Suez, inexplicably, is down to only 3 objectives in a straight line. And then the spawns on either side of them. So, yeah, if you get pushed back, you're screwed.
It's definitely the Metro of Metro or lockers of... It's actually more Metro than lockers, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I had some fun on that map, because it's got some of that nice close. It's a little bit more open than Domination. It's got a little bit more room than Domination, but it has like a good open, a couple open areas, like when you fight for Bravo, and it has a lot of a little bit of vertical fighting in the two other endpoints. But yeah, the wide open area, the spawn running in is with no cover is a little much if you get trapped out. But the infighting inside the map itself, I think, is well done.
Well, yeah, but it feels like the Bravo and Charlie section, Bravo Charlie Delta. It feels like that section of Sinai Desert. It doesn't feel like the complete map.
True.
Like for most of the maps, you
Yeah.
have 7 objectives in Conquest.
Right.
And I was confused the first time I played Suez because we went down to 3, and I was like, "Where's the rest of the map?"
Yeah.
What do you mean this is it?
If they added 2 more objectives,
Yeah.
it would probably fix a lot of the problems.
Yeah. And maybe not even in a straight line if they just put them off.
I do
Like
like
a
triangle out of it,
cross
something.
symbol.
I do like the infighting inside the building. My first couple times I played it, I didn't really like it. But the couple other times I played it, it's like, yeah, it's some really good fighting in around buildings, and it was entertaining and fast paced, and it was good. But yeah, the getting trapped outside of the map and your spawn is not definitely a well designed thing. But
and there's also no route. If you notice on most maps, they're open enough, and they have enough different varying routes to where you can get around certain objectives. Like for example, Endor Forest, you can come from either side and take the long way around. That's just how I refer to it, the long way. You can go all the way around to the very furthest objective. I'm not sure on which side is which, but I can run all the way around to the left and get to Alpha.
Yeah.
Past the train track and all that. Like you can go all the way around to the right and do the exact same thing. You have different options. So if everyone is bottlenecked in at Charlie on that bridge, or you're getting pushed to either one of the objectives on either side of Charlie, either B or D, you could still bypass that and get around and cause disruption behind the enemy lines and all that stuff. It's simply not possible on Suez.
that's true.
And that's my gripe.
I have to agree with you on that. Yeah, like I know you called it Endor, but yeah, it's flanking routes for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So other than that, I love the map design. For everything else, I enjoy it. Focusing on current gen, I can absolutely say development-wise was a very smart decision. The process is most likely streamlined and made it a lot easier by focusing on just a few platforms instead of 5, like including last gen. So it's just really apparent how polished the game feels. Like that development must have been either smoother or easier or whatever, because DICE has always been a skilled developer. They've always delivered quality, but we usually, with multi-platform releases, have a lot more problems. For example, Battlefield 4.
Yeah, I agree.
When you have a product that you have to recreate for 5 different platforms, you have to make the game 5 different times. It's not just a transfer over to this. So that they only had to focus on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, I think was really, really a benefit for them. And I can feel the difference in how polished this game feels.
Yeah, well, I mean, all you have to do is look at the difference between Battlefield 4's launch and Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
And, knock on wood, by and large, we haven't had any
Well, the DDoS attacks,
issues,
but
really.
that's completely unrelated to DICE or EA.
Yeah, and I can't even pin that on either of them,
Yeah. So the other thing is destruction, and getting rid of the idea of levolution. Thank fuck for that.
Yes, bravo.
Levolution was somewhat enjoyable gimmick for the first few rounds that it happened, but over the life cycle of something like a map changing event being triggered, really, really just got tired. The kind of like dynamic thing that they've got, how things will randomly happen or the map will change now in Battlefield 1, is far superior as far as like some type of map changing event. The dynamic things that are happening now is much better than a scripted levolution event. But
I mean, they went there and they done that in Battlefield 4, and I am, like I said, I am so glad they did not carry it on, because it was fucking shitty.
Yeah, and bringing the destruction back, like we had in the Bad Company series, it's an amazing feeling to see the map get completely destroyed. It's just awesome. Yep. I love it. I don't think I've come across many things that can't be destroyed so far. I know you can't completely demolish, entire towns, but it's done in a way to where everything feels like it's destructible or just destructible enough.
Yeah.
I'm usually never coming across something that I'm like, why can't I put a hole in this?
Yeah, I mean, you can drive a tank through pretty much every fucking thing, like walls, even the train on Ballroom Blitz. It was at the E flag. You could even drive a tank to the fucking train and destroy the fucking train cars. So yeah, I mean, driving through those big brick walls, it's fucking pretty badass.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's very empowering too. It really, really makes you feel like you've got something special in your hands when you are able to drive a tank through that stuff.
Use a rocket gun to cave in a roof. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
It's all awesome. It just it's empowering to the player. It changes, it's an oh shit moment to the people, like when they drop the floor on us, when they destroy the upper floor of some building that we're all in. Everyone all at once goes, oh shit, and we all, scramble, and it's just really cool. Yep. So I've really been missing the destruction like we were able to do in the Bad Company series between Battlefield 3, which toned it down quite a bit, and then Battlefield 4 to where I feel like they traded destruction for levolution, which
there was virtually no destruction in Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
I mean, used to love getting rubble kills in Battlefield 3, and I so miss that coming to Battlefield 4 because they concentrated on that fucking levolution they come up with.
Yeah.
And to me, half the time it was game breaking.
Yeah.
We called it lag-elution.
Yeah, we did.
And well, speaking on rebel kills, that's not a thing in this game, and
it is actually.
Yep.
Let me stop you right there because I've seen and been a part of multiple debris kills. I will say that it does not work exactly like Battlefield 3 to where it's extremely apparent how it happens, but I absolutely see on the score I get points for a debris kill.
Interesting. So I've yet to. I mean, I've been in, especially on Amiens. That's like the biggest. I've been in the buildings firing down on Charlie and Delta and had them bring the buildings down and not kill me. And then vice versa. I've used the train to destroy the buildings
Yeah.
and not
Well,
kill the people
I can't
in
put
them.
my finger on how exactly it happens yet, but I promise you, I've seen it. I've been awarded points for debris kills.
Yeah,
Nice.
I have
Well,
a
that's
clip where I get a revenge kill with a rocket gun and I shoot the roof of a building or a barn because the dude's upstairs in like the rafters. I saw it on the kill screens. When I spawned in, I put a rocket gun right through the fucking roof and I got a debris kill.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not the same where you can hit the side of a building and the shit falls in the street and kills crushes people like in Battlefield 3 because that shit was a blast.
I wish it was back.
I wish it was
Yeah.
a
That
little
would
bit
be
more
really
that. Yeah,
awesome.
but at least you can level a building. If anyone's in it, the building can kill people.
Yeah.
If you're inside of it. So, I mean, it's not quite the same as BF3, but it's a hell of a lot better than BF4 was.
Yep.
For sure.
And then my last point that I've got, and certainly this is not all encompassing, but these are the absolute major ones. The last point that I have on my light category is that the classes feel distinctly different. They each have their own identity, and there are no cross-class or all-class weapons like in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4.
Not
So
yet,
it forces
anyways.
players, not yet. So it forces players to commit to a certain play style and hopefully follow that role. You know, a medic is pretty much distinctly going to be, close to medium range engagements. They shouldn't be the very first one through the door or anything like that. They should be supporting their teammates with health and revives. The support player, are able to lay down a lot of fire to shoot mortars and resupply everybody. But they're not, again, they shouldn't be the very first one through the door. That should be the assault class. So for that reason, the assault class has the high rate of fire weapons, the stuff that's really good in close quarters like shotguns. So it's different than the past couple iterations of the Battlefield franchise because Battlefield 3 and 4 with the cross-class weapons, you could play support just like you would assault. Or you could play medic like you would a sniper or whatever you felt like you were doing because you could find a weapon that would work for that role. If you wanted to snipe, you could do it from pretty much any class. If you wanted, something very quick, you could bring in like in Battlefield 4, the ACW. The ACW would have a high rate of fire and it'd be great for close quarters. You could play any class with that, and it really, like the non-restrictive performance that you could get from these weapons just kind of meshed the classes together.
Oh,
They
agree.
didn't feel distinct.
I agree. There's definitely you're playing as a medic. You go shit a tank, you fucking run because you got nothing for that. I mean, it's not like you have, the ability to attack armor and or deal with, close quarter combat or range combat when you're playing a certain class. I like it. I think they've done it real well with balancing the classes. So to keep that up.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better. I really, really like it. So on to the dislikes, and this is where the real meat of my commentary is going to come in. And again, I will try to make this brief. Joining friends is not easy. This is a big problem now. We're well far enough into the video game, lifestyle to where people kind of know what they want from games. And with multiplayer games, you know that you want to play with friends. It should be very easy, very... I mean, it should be the easiest thing in the world to squad up with your friends. We should be able to do it in the game, in the menu, without any type of third-party system or depending on anything else. Just in the game, I should be able to send an invite, and me and that person or people should be able to load up a game, and it should keep us together the whole time. I don't understand how we still have this problem. It makes no fucking sense to me. The whole point of the game... Because we know, for at least the Battlefield franchise, single player is usually an afterthought. Now, granted, they did a lot better on this one. They did great. I'm going to give them as much points as I can for the single player. But multiplayer is still the focus and what gives the game its legs.
Oh, for sure.
So you should have the best experience you can with friends, and we do. We know that the most fun that we have is playing with our friends. So why the fuck is it not easy? I don't understand.
And I mean, I know it's been not bad to get into a game when you go to the menu, like you hit R2, pulls up, and most of the time you can hit, join a friend in a party, or third party, go to the PlayStation party system and join a session. But the squad system in Battlefield 4 was so fucking hit or miss. start a squad, and all your friends are like, oh, there's none of my friends in the squad. Like, well, I just fucking
It still
started.
doesn't work.
I know. It's been broken as fuck since launch of Battlefield 4. They need to sort out that problem and bring it into Battlefield 1. They also need to get rid of that your friend in a party has started
Yes.
a game, because even though it's helpful to get into a game with everybody, if you're in a game, it shouldn't come up. Maybe I don't know how that's got to be fixed, because that is fucking intrusive, especially if you're pressing X just as that comes up. You're all of a sudden you're pulled out of your game.
Yep.
So they need.
Well, it should at least be like the options button. You know, if they're gonna spam your screen and possibly fuck up you getting a kill or getting into cover or whatever, it's extremely disruptive to the experience to suddenly not have control of your character in the middle of a game with so much going on.
I agree.
And be forced to respond to some type of tab.
Well, just I mean, they have those network like latency indicators that you can turn on and off, and they're not all that obtrusive, and I can see them flashing on the screen. Give me something like that. Just give me like, hey.
Well, why don't they do it on the bottom of the screen? Yeah. Put it on the bottom of the screen. Just bring up a bar that goes up, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch in thickness on your TV, and across the bottom of the screen says, so and so is in a game. Would you like to join? And make it like the options button.
Yeah.
So number one, it doesn't cover your screen. Number two, continue to give you full control of your soldier and all your regular buttons that you use when interacting and when playing the game. But also give you the option, if you wanted, go ahead and hit it, and then you'll join.
Right, because, I mean, it is nice if you're sitting there and someone goes, I'm going to look for a game. They don't have to say, okay, I'm joining this server, look for this server name, this server number. They can just start it as long as you're in a party. It pops up on your screen, you press X, and away you go. But, when you're in a game, they need to have that to be like a completely non-intrusive pop-up for sure, because that is fucking bullshit.
Yeah. So aside from joining friends, I've also got, it's kind of a similar point, I guess. It flows right into it. When you boot up the game, when you get to the main menu, one of the front page tabs, aside from the sponsored YouTube channels that they insist on putting on my fucking game, one of the front page tabs usually displays a friends game that I can join. It says so-and-so's playing this, and it tells me the player count, what game mode, and that's great. That's fine. But if I've got 7 or 8 people playing online in 5 different games, why can't I
scroll
put
through them?
if I can select that and then hit R1 and it'll show me, okay, you don't want to join that, so we'll switch. This player's playing this with this many players. This is the player count, and this is the game mode. Nope, don't want them. Hit R1 again, and I'll keep scrolling through until I find a certain player that I wanted to join or a certain game mode I felt like doing or whatever. But that would be a way to keep it directed at my friends so I could still join on them.
Right.
But also allow me the options instead of just picking one randomly.
Well,
like, for instance, I got on today, and there was one guy that was lone wolfing it. He was playing by himself, and the rest of the people I wanted to play with were in a party. So on my main menu, it gave me the option of joining the one random guy. And I'm like, that's not what I want. That doesn't help me.
Well, at the end of the day, it was... I jumped on, and I already knew a couple of Modis were in a game because I was in the party with them. They're in a game. I was loading the menu up, and it came up on the screen, and one of the options for me was someone in the UK. I'm in fucking Canada. My friends are all playing on the Eastern U.S. server, where I like to play on because it's the best latency usually I get. But why would it give me the option, since I knew like 3 people were already playing? Like you said, why does it show me even it showed me that a person in my damn region would be better than someone randomly just say, oh, we'll get you play with this person in the UK. No.
Yeah. Well, and if it's going to try to be helpful or smart like that, it should be smart enough to, know that you play with this amount or this friend like much more frequently than this one. Yeah. You frequently group up with these people, so let's suggest you joining them again.
Exactly.
It should be intuitive and responsive in such a way as to assist your experience and make it better.
If it's not going to give me, like you said, a rolling menu to pick which friends are on playing what games, it's not going to give me an option to look at, on the main screen, then at least put something in my region and or, if it can figure out, okay, you always play with these particular people, these people are online, they're more opted to be the ones to choose from.
Yep.
But I take the option to scroll through your friends' games first.
Yeah, sure.
That's the best option.
Yep. So moving on, battle packs. I hate everything about them. Everything. getting them randomly, I think, is a bad idea because, number one, it doesn't support rewards for performance.
Nope.
So randomly giving them to people is kind of a leveler, I suppose you could say, because you could also be a bad player and get battle packs, and that's like a plus for you. That's great.
Well, listen to this point on battle packs is, it was one of the first few days I got the game. I was playing with a buddy of mine. We get into a game. He's loaded in. It's right at the end of the round. I'm waiting for my game to join. I join in. I hit the spawn button. I spawn, defeat, end screen. I get a battle pack.
Nice.
I was in the game for 9 seconds and I get a battle pack. But yeah, someone on the team might have went like 22-5, didn't get a battle pack. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think getting them randomly is a bad idea. And there's inevitably, when something is random, there's going to be people that have what they feel like, either justified or not, they feel like they're going to have, a string of bad luck.
Yep.
To where you just don't get any. Or you have like a really, really great game, you're really flying high, you go 30-6, and yeah, people that go, 18, or I mean like 2-18, they're getting it. Or people that did nothing, or like yourself, you just mentioned, people that just joined into the game, they get it. And you're like, well, fuck, like, how do they even determine this? Like, what factors go into this being random? Because I definitely feel like I should have been rewarded. There's people that are going to think like that. So whether it's fair or not, it's still going to seem subjective to those people.
Exactly.
If you do well, you expect to be rewarded.
Reminds me of another game you two dislike very much now.
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not even getting into Overwatch because you get loot boxes when you level up. No, I'm talking about Destiny, especially PvP Destiny.
Oh.
RNG.
RNG, yep, that's what it's all about.
Jesus blesses you or does not.
Yeah.
And I mean, the people were on Reddit were saying that if you are MVP or something, it increases your odds somehow. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if anyone fucking knows. They're just guessing.
I think I can support that.
I think if there's gonna be, I don't want them to be random. I want them to be a reward for doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you leave behind a large portion of the user base. If you say that only the top 5 people on each team are going to get battle packs.
No, I don't want it that way. No. I'm thinking if
Okay.
they're going to reward battle packs, it's because
that's performance,
you done
right?
something, you leveled up your rank.
Okay.
Yeah,
so outside of the
right.
stats per game.
Unless,
okay.
If they want to do like random battle packs for different things and have them still RNG on random games. Maybe because what's going to happen, and there's already video proof of it. A fella just rubber banding his controller, running in circles, out of the combat area, just out of the fighting area. I should say combat area because out of bounds. But fight just basically to make sure he stays in the game, because he's going to get randomly chance to get a battle pack, right? So they're going to take players out of the damn game. There's a video of a fella online. A fella recorded it. The guy just running around in circles. He just kept bumping into him until he pushed him out of bounds and killed him. So then now the guy's dead. His controller rubber band's not going to keep him in the game. Eventually he'll time out and be gone. But the problem is that is going to happen. That'll be a problem. People will join games, rubber band their controller, and they'll go fucking eat pizza. Because if the round ends, whether they get any fucking points or not, they could get a battle pack.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. That's probably going to be a very, an unbelievably small portion of people.
I was thinking about doing it the other day.
Oh, come on.
I'm kidding. But I'm just hoping that's like, I'm sad that I mentioned it now, so I might get the idea, but that,
you heard it here on the Bottlefield.
Within the first week, it already happened. So, why else would you rubber band your controller to make your character run in circles?
Well, but at the same time, what is a guy... weapon skins?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, what's the point? You're not fucking getting anything.
That's going to lead right into the next point. And that's my point, too. It's not worth it. Once you realize, at first I thought I was getting a gun. I'm like, I got a gun? That's cool. Then I'm like, oh, it's a weapon skin. Okay. Yeah, whatever. It's cool. It's, hey, I got a weapon. I got a battle pack. It's cool, but it's a fucking skin that I don't really care about.
Yeah. So to continue the battle pack point, aside from just hating everything about them, they only reward skins for weapons, and I think that's fucking laughable because that doesn't. That's for me. I think a large portion of the player base. I can't say the majority or the minority because I don't know those numbers, and probably the only people that know those numbers would be Dice or if they took a poll or whatever. But I can say that a large portion, safely, of the user base doesn't give a shit about skins.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different color on your weapon, and I don't care about that.
No.
I know a lot of my friends don't, and like I said, you could take a poll, and certainly a large portion of the player base just does not care about these skins that they get. So that's the only thing that you get from battle packs. There's no
pieces for the 2 melee
well
right now.
Yeah, but we've got 12 of those.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
they don't do anything else. Again, it's just cosmetic.
Right, I understand that, but I mean, it's something. I mean, I know like weapon skins are something I always thought were like, oh fuck, it's here we go, CS:GO, fucking Call of Duty. Here we're gonna fucking pink this and purple that, and I'm glad it's not that far. But yeah, weapon skins to me, I guess like you don't mean a fucking thing, but I mean, the cool thing of getting a puzzle piece maybe, but other than that, I don't see the point of them.
No.
As of right now.
And yeah, they don't carry anything other than those though. And to me, it would be more thrilling, and I would actually give a shit if maybe they had war bonds, for example, the type of in-game currency that this game depends on.
Yep.
But only to a certain point, which I'm going to get to here in a second. But my point is that number one, there's no way to increase your chances of getting battle packs, which it's supposed to be a reward. You can't work towards the reward, and I think that's inherently negative.
Yep.
It's just randomly thrown out to anybody with any playtime in the game. But they reward you, quote unquote, with skins, which is cosmetic, which I think a lot of people don't care about. Mm-hmm. So why? It should be a random number of war bonds, or if you want to do puzzle pieces, that's fine. Put some puzzle pieces for different, I don't know, I don't want to say attachments or anything like that, but I mean something that you could use, maybe like a one-time, like I don't know, I'm not even gonna do ideas, forget it.
Well,
I'll backtrack on it.
There was talks that there was going to be some possible XP boosts. I don't know if they're available yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even be down with that.
A little bit XP, like the XP boosts that were in Battlefield 4, a few of those. I mean, at least give us something. That, like, I mean, not everyone wants weapon skins. Pretty much everyone will want fucking XP boosts, or everyone
the war
will want
bonds,
puzzle pieces to maybe a gun, a different gun, or I don't know. There's got to be something they can come up with to keep it, kind of the World War I genre, but not make it fucking. Oh, here's a weapon skin that makes your gun look a little bit blue.
Well,
or a little bit gold,
right now for me, and like I said, a large portion of the player base, there's never going to be a moment ever that I'm playing this game where I get a battle pack and I'm like, yes. There's nothing in it that I care about.
Yeah.
There's nothing at all that battle packs could offer me that I will even grin at. I just don't care.
I agree.
Not one bit.
It's still nice to get a battle pack because you could get a puzzle piece for one of the cool looking melee weapons. But other than that, I agree with you. There's no. To me, I'm like, oh, a weapon skin. Cool, move on.
Yeah. So to roll right into the next point, when I said that battle packs could contain war bonds, which people would want, being the in-game currency, it's what we buy things with. It leads me into my next problem. My next gripe is that there's nothing to fucking buy.
Nope.
Where are the customization options? Where are all the weapons? I know that we've been spoiled. Battlefield 3 had a lot of weapons and a ton of customizations. Battlefield 4, I think, went over the deep end, and you had a million different combinations that you could do and all that stuff. It basically was Borderlands Battlefield. So in this game, we've now tracked it back, and I think this is one of the bad things that came from Star Wars Battlefront, because you had, I don't know, I don't remember the exact count of weapons, but it
wasn't very many.
Number, yeah, there was not very many at all, and you could not change how they acted. There was nothing that you could do to make it different in any way. Once you have a weapon, that's it. It's the exact same for its entire life cycle. So, I mean, we've been treated with an expanding inventory of weapons and attachments and customizations from Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4. And this game goes the route of less is more. But it feels like less is just honestly and completely and totally much, much less. Like in this game, each class has 4 or 5 weapons. I think it's 4, but I put 5 to be generous just in case. And you buy 2 other variants of that weapon at 200 war bonds a pop. So if you walk into a shop and you're like, hey, I want to buy this item, and then the guy goes, okay, well, I have 2 different types of it, though. You could buy it with this color or that color. Like, slightly change it just a tiny bit, but you still have to pay full price over and over again.
Yeah.
So each variant like is $200 or 200 war bonds. I say bucks like it's money, but 200 war bonds. So like one standard weapon, X weapon, is 200 war bonds, and to add a scope to it is 200 war bonds.
Yep.
So like I get that this is a War World 1 game, and that's going to be, I think, the biggest counter argument to the customization is, oh well, it's World War 1. We didn't have all this goofy shit back then. That's true, but there should be more options for changing how weapons feel and how they operate. So, inexplicably, we can only change the direction of the recoil. But you don't take anything away from the gun, and you don't add anything or alter the gun in any way. You just magically change which way the bullets go, and I feel like that's bullshit. I'm really disappointed there are different any like grips or scopes that I can pick, like different ones. You only get 1 additional iron sight option aside from the standard iron sight. There's no different muzzles. You don't have different bullet types. There's nothing. It's not as if these things didn't exist in the time period. And DICE not including any options to customize the weapons, like I said, reeks of Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
And less content in your game is not a good thing.
No.
Like it restricts your game's potential for a feeling of progression and expansiveness for a game that people are going to put sometimes just dozens of hours, sometimes hundreds, and in some cases thousands. I think all of us put thousands of hours into Battlefield 3 and 4 total. So for a game with that much longevity, you need some type of change. You need some type of feeling of progression. But in this game, when you buy a weapon, it will feel and look the exact same every time you use it forever. You can't cater it to your playstyle at all. You can't do anything. You can't alter it. You can't change it. So since there's only 4 or 5 weapons for each class, you literally will not be unlocking anything after the first few class rank ups.
Yep.
I think after your kit is rank 4, you don't unlock anything until level 10. So there's a gap there to even grind. Yeah, just to the final weapon. But then once you get that, you're done. They might as well just have put that as the max level. Like, just you don't get anything after that. I don't know why we still get war bonds, because progression is non-existent after a couple weeks of playtime for any random person, you could say.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big problem with the game's life cycle.
It definitely is, and I think when you talk like scopes and iron sights and like grips and stuff, I mean they could have used, they could have made different materials to use for like wraps on the barrel of the gun. Because in World War 1 they didn't have foregrips and potato grips and Battlefield 4, but I mean they could have wrapped certain materials around the thing. They could have fashioned, they could have made it look a little more, hey, this guy was in the trench, he decided he was going to wrap fucking bandages around the end of his gun, and he found that, hey, it helped him recoil. That definitely could have been something they could have done. And I mean, maybe down the road they'll see their mistakes and say, shit, we got to do something, and things will change. But by then everyone's going to be max rank, and there's going to be no, everyone's going to have 4 million war bonds. And
yeah, so as soon as they, in the DLC releases, and I'm glad you just said that because it brought it to my mind, as soon as we get DLC, which will have most likely just 1 weapon for each class, if we're really treated to, but I doubt it because that's 50% of the original content of the game.
Right.
If we've only got 4 weapons for each class, I don't think we're going to get 2 for each DLC. But I mean, right now it's just conjecture. We don't really know. But I can say we can virtually guarantee 1 weapon for each class. But even so, we're all going to have mounted so many war bonds that we can literally unlock everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Like our class ranks are going to be max. Our levels are going to be max pretty much. We're going to have 1 million war bonds. Like, we're not going to have to wait or progress towards any fucking thing because we could just unlock it now from all our stored shit.
Yep. Unless they go like the Phantom Bow route and make a bunch of mundane tasks, which I really hope they don't do. DICE, please don't.
I don't know.
But I could see that being the only way to prevent people from having it immediately. Yeah. And
so
speaking of customizations, have you guys seen, I assume we've all played about the same amount of the campaign, I remember picking up silenced pistols in the campaign. Has anyone seen one of those in the wild?
There's the yeah, in the campaign you get actually one of the levels you get a suppressed sniper rifle.
I saw, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, suppressed sniper. I saw suppressed
and
like
handgun. Yep.
shoulder style. I don't know if it was like a TP-19 or something, and the suppressed 1911. But I've yet to see any of those in multiplayer. I don't even know if that's an option.
No, there's one of the LMGs that's called suppressed, but
yeah,
but it's that's the only thing. There's no there's no suppressed sniper rifles that I know of. I haven't played enough Scout.
And of course, since shots don't make you appear on the minimap anymore, I guess that
suppression is really just
it's more just like, for cool factor. I guess it doesn't really
direct
have a
suppression.
Still, too. I mean, I mean, if you're not making a noise, then you're less audible to anyone that happens to be around you, because you have to track them by sound now. So I mean, definitely some suppressors would be nice for that option, which would also affect recoil, etc., etc.
I was just curious if anyone had seen those, because I have not seen them in multiplayer anywhere.
So to finish up that point, the progression is locked into just being a couple weeks of playtime, really, for most people. Unless you're really, really progressing slowly, if you're having trouble with the game and you're not very good at it, to where you're not getting many points. But for most people, within a couple weeks, maybe a month, you're going to have all your class ranks. You're going to have enough war bonds to buy anything you want. So the progression for this game is incredibly limited in scope, and that's going to hurt the life cycle, I think. My last point is the medal system. The medal system is fucked. Again, with progression. Locking progression on the medals and having us complete requirements in the order of A, B, C, instead of like a global progress for a medal, is a really dumb idea that limits gameplay for people wanting medals. Instead of challenges being completed organically, like through gameplay, people are forced to jump this way, spin that way, shoot this in the toe, and then wiggle your ears in that exact order.
Yeah,
and how this affects the game is people are doing silly requirements that do not make sense to the gameplay. For instance, a scout medal that wants 20 kills as a scout, 10 kill assists, 3k bullet, vehicle destroys, etc. It can only be done in that order. So if you're trying to get your 20 kills, surely at some point you're going to get some kill assists, but they do not count towards the progression because you didn't complete the 20 kills first. You didn't complete A, so B has no progress. And that's retarded. On top of that, there's only 5 medals active at any given time, and currently they're glitchy. We're still just a couple weeks out from release, and we're still having problems with them. But the idea is still flawed vastly, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to kind of like to go back to the old medal system. If they're not going to go back, I mean, medals were, I mean, you make the point is it's a reward, but I mean, it's why do I have to do these requirements to get these medals? And the worst thing is, if they're random and everyone's random every week, this week when they turned over, I had one for my first week that I already completed. So automatically now I'm down to 4 medals.
Yeah.
So that's that part of it too pisses me off.
Yeah. And another example is like if it just forces people to play the game in a very specific way, which is inherently less enjoyable for me. So if I kill 5 people with pistols because the situation dictated it and I get a medal, then that's great. That's fine, because the progress will be tracked like organically. But if I run around in 5 different games with only my pistol just trying to get this medal, that's a problem. Like that doesn't improve gameplay. That doesn't feel rewarding to me. It shoehorns me into playing a very specific and narrow type of way, and that's not how I want to play the game. So the medal system can fuck off. It sucks.
Yep. I agree with them having medals for different classes and or different type of activities, because that's why the other Battlefield games where you was blank amount of ribbons for doing support or doing assault, doing whatever, melee kills, etc. And then once you got so many ribbons, they turned into a medal. So that was your reward, was the bonus XP from the medal, which I've never had a problem with. I never had anyone complain about it. Now they do this here. We give you 5 medals, choose one. So in other words, like you said, you got to run around with a pistol. So half your fucking team happens to get that one medal that week. You got like 6 fucking players running around with handguns the whole round, trying to get 5 kills. Like some of them seem hard.
And that's a lost game right there. That's a defeat.
Right, it's trying to get so many kills in a life. Like there's one of them, like the melee one is you have to get 10. It started with 10 melee kills overall. Then you have to get 5 melee kills in one round. Then you have to get 3 melee kills in a life. But if I get 5 kills in a row and I'm still alive, why doesn't it count for both points?
Yep.
So that's, it's like, fuck, now I just run around for 2 fucking games. I still haven't got 3 kills in a life, and I got no medics to revive me because the blueberries run the other fucking way. And here I am, like, wasting 4 or 5 rounds of doing this. What's the point of it? For a fucking medal that, who's going to see them?
Well, and the other point with progression, too, is that they give you challenges for these medals. The only reward for the medals is experience, which gets you war bonds, which buys you nothing.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
And you're going to get it anyway. And what do they do 5 medals a week or 4?
5.
It's 5. So I'm looking at the companion website now. There's only 34 medals, which means that in roughly 7 weeks.
I didn't even look at that.
Assuming that they don't give you the options for any of them twice. You're talking less than 2 months. And you have an opportunity to have completed all of the medals.
And which I already have within 2 fucking weeks. I've already been given back the same medal I got completed in the first week.
Well, what they should do is knock out anything you've completed and have it not show up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get the medal. I guess you can get the medal again. I have no idea. I'm not going to track it because
I don't think so.
I don't think so because they're subdued on the website, and the ones that I have are lit up. But I don't know. I mean, until I see one that's
says with a little number 1 beside it or 2 beside it, you mean, or whatever.
Yeah. I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like them. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't get anything for them. I mean, what, kudos? Like, eh.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a reward is a reward, but don't make it so that
and there's nothing that changes from you getting a medal. Like I said, the only reward is experience, which gets you war bonds, which gets you nothing because progression is limited to 4 weapons. If they did some type of cosmetic change, like if your character actually wore the medal, like on their vest, you know what? That'd be kind of cool because you would see somebody if you got close enough that had like the full like war general like strip down their chest of all these, and I'd be like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
You wear them and you can hear them running all over the place. Clang, 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 clang.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't know. I just thought of that off the top of my head, but that'd be pretty funny. I like that. My last point was about the airship, but we already talked about that, so I'm just gonna nix that. We've talked plenty about stuff I like and don't like. So, Work, let's run through your stuff.
Well, thanks for taking all of the things.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have them bullet pointed out, so I'll just run down them real quick. The game runs fantastic. We don't have any of the, knock on wood again, issues that we had at Battlefield 4 launch. This one feels great. It runs great. I don't even know how to spell CE error anymore, and I really shouldn't have said that because it's probably going to happen now. But, visually it's awesome. The audio is crazy. I haven't noticed any crazy input lag. I mean, I play with our buddy Hossam on EU servers a lot, and it feels just like I'm playing on an East Coast US server, which is awesome. The guns feel nice. I noticed that the LMGs feel like LMGs, the semi-autos feel like semi-autos. They all feel very different within a arch type of gun, if you will, and I like that. The vehicles feel pretty good. None of them seem to handle better or worse. I mean, they feel all right. And aside from Suez, is there an echo in here? All the maps are awesome. Both of you guys touched on the menus. Same thing. I don't know if it seems to have gotten better after that little patch that we got, but it's still off a little bit. It's not as snappy as it needs to be. And I don't know. I know they have that, especially when the game's taking place, where like the spawn screen you're watching is the actual battle. I don't know if that is. I have to imagine that it's contributing to the slowness of the menu because it has to process all of that and load all this other stuff.
Yeah, it might.
But at the same time, if that's how they're going to design the game to play, probably should have took a look at that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I imagine they're.
I'd like seeing the active map.
I think it's cool. Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more detail, but I don't want to risk the menus getting worse.
No, that's for sure. But maybe with one of the patches they'll have something optimized a little bit better. But
Yeah, maybe,
the-
you know, have explosions be a little more prominent or something like that. It's still cool, though. I really like it. I like the zoom in and zoom out thing. It's real snazzy.
Yeah.
On the subject of joining games with your squad, I'm going to refer to the simplicity of the Call of Duty system before
Yeah,
you guys
I
get
can't
your
argue.
pitchforks out. Like,
Yep.
you get your 6 dudes, and whoever was the first person, like, squad leader picks a lobby, everybody goes, squad leader backs out, everybody goes. It's just, it is what
Yep.
it is. It doesn't have as much flexibility as what DICE is trying to offer us. However, it works. It works every time. It works all the time, and it's really easy to use.
Yep.
So if they could implement it in some manner, maybe add it, I don't know, that would be super cool. Let's say we cover that pop-up. It's cool. It'd be nice if they told you in that pop-up who they were talking about. Maybe gave you some server info. Is it EU? Is it 2 of 64 or 44 of 64?
Yeah, well, the thing with that is, though, it's someone in your party, so hopefully the person in your party's not fucking just joins in and just clicks on random servers to fuck with you. That's gonna be the new trolling among your friends. Join a fucking party and just randomly pick a fucking game to piss someone off.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you know who we're all friends with, so
Right.
we all know that's exactly what's happening. And if they're not going to make it less obtrusive, make it like a 2-factor type thing, because I don't like when I'm trying to vault a wall and that pop-up hits and all of a sudden I've pressed X, so clearly I want to leave whatever I'm doing right now. Give me like a X. Hey, are you sure? Because you just said you wanted to leave this. Are you sure you want to do that? Like Windows
don't
asked
make
me
the
10
confirmation
times to
X
shut the
again
computer
also.
off, so at least DICE can do is make me say yes twice to change servers.
Yeah.
Oh, elite classes. I don't think anybody touched on that. I like
Not
them.
yet.
I like that they're different. I like that they feel as though they fulfill specific roles and they do it very well. I do not like that you can basically become invincible as long as you have ammo and a medic. I mean, you can't refill the ammunition, but you can be healed. You know, your flame guy can roll into a bunker and torch everyone and take half his life off, and then he can step outside and roll up next to a med box, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm the juggernaut bitch again.
Yeah, that needs to be
They
fixed.
they shouldn't be able to regain that.
So I'd like them, either that or make them easier to kill. Well, like one or the other. I'm fine with one or the other, but I'm not fully okay with it as it is now.
Yeah.
Although, you know, maybe their intent is much like the Behemoth for them to be, quote,
Disruptive.
map altering, disruptive. Yeah, like, okay, a squad has to deal with this person. Because if 4 or 5 people take out a flame trooper, he's going down. 1 or 2, that's a different, different story depending on the engagement.
Wow, bayonet charge. There you go.
Yeah.
I never did. Oh, you mean the super sprint button? Yeah.
You bayonet charge an elite. That's a one-hit kill.
I've started taking.
Not the campaign though. I found that out.
Yeah, right.
Right after the flame trooper trying to bayonet charge him like a badass. Nope,
Yep.
he just fucking barbecued me.
He was like, "Oh, that tickles."
And that's what kind of pisses me off about the elite classes is, especially the sentry, especially front on. You're wearing fucking metal plates on your chest. How's I mean, it's a bayonet charge.
I think it should hurt, but it shouldn't kill you.
It's like, I mean, same as the horse. Is a horse melee is a one-hit kill on a sentry as well, or on an elite, I should say.
Yeah,
So
I want to be a
there's-
flame trooper on a horse.
That'd be badass.
Because
Well, like
Flame
the,
Trooper is one of my
cancer.
favorites.
It's the elite
The
class.
melee weapons, like the knives or the club or whatever you have, shovel, if you hit somebody from the front, it only does like, what, 34, 36 damage? Something like that. I feel like a bayonet charge should do that to one of the elite classes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it'd be like getting stabbed, like, ow, fuck, that hurts. Don't do that again. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be all of a sudden out of the blue, and then dead.
right.
Like that's kind of ruins the specialness of
Well,
an elite class.
I wish I had recorded it, but I actually I knifed from behind the tank killer twice in one round.
Nice.
One guy didn't even know it was a tank killer. I jumped down from the fucking raptors in the barn and I knifed the guy. I didn't realize it was a tank hunter and I killed him. And the second one is I got the the notification that there's the elite class is available in your area. And I ran up behind a fucking enemy just as soon as he picked it up, I stood right behind him. And the second he picked the kid up, I knifed him.
Got him.
Yeah, I wish I had a clip recorded because that definitely was awesome. But
That's funny.
so yeah, I mean, knife. I don't know if you get. I don't know what happens if you get knife to sentry. Like I said, I only done it to the tank killer, so I have no idea if it. It probably works on the other elites as well.
It works.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah, it should. Yeah.
yeah, I think the bayonet charge from front on should only do even yeah, it should do like a knife stab something just to so they're not totally easy to take down because I think that's because you can't. There's no defense against the bayonet charge unless you just kill the guy.
Yep.
So there's no counter.
Nope.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? While we're talking about dislikes spawning, I don't know how many times I have killed someone who spawned right in front of me, running away.
Yeah, it happened today.
Run away from me, or I've been killed by someone who just spawned in behind me after I ran past a random. It's wild. And I don't know how they're going to address it, but they got to do something. It's crazy.
Yes, it spawns. They should not let you spawn within so many meters of an enemy. It's just complete bullshit right now. Yeah. Also, yeah, people are like it happened today for me and you work to where somebody spawned on an enemy that you had just killed. Like I know there's a bit of a delay. There's like 2 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Like when you hit X to spawn on somebody to deploy, and then the map zooms in and you appear.
Like how was the guy? How was he not under fire? How was he able to even pick that dude? Because you and I were both in that room, and there were bullets flying everywhere. How could he even spawn on that guy?
I don't know.
Wow.
It had to have been just the perfect storm of maybe he wasn't directly in fire, like shots were kind of around him.
Well, you want to talk?
I don't know.
You want to talk about being under fire? I have the clip, the fellow that the fellow's teabag, and I come up behind him with the flamethrower, and I fucking barbecue the guy. And as I'm killing him, another guy fucking spawns, and I kill that guy. And as I'm killing him, another guy fucking spawns, and I get a triple, all within like not even 8 seconds because they were spawning on him. Unless that was a spawn point of the fucking control point, which still, if I'm standing there roasting somebody with the flamethrower, they should not put them in that direct. I mean, it was great for me. I got a triple kill, but. It's. I mean, if that was the other way around, I'd be like, "What the fuck? How could I spawn on someone getting barbecued?" So yeah, their spawn system still needs to be tweaked for sure. That's
I feel like it wasn't really a problem in Battlefield 4. Like it generally spawns you away. Generally, maybe.
There was times it was fucking horrible. I haven't had major amounts of issues. I know, like I said, just for that one that I have video of, and like I said in the beta, there was a time I was running. I killed a guy with a shotgun. We were running around the outside to go back into Bravo, and the motherfucker spawned directly in front of my shotgun. Like, he took 2 steps and he got murdered again. I felt bad for that poor bastard. But, I mean, yeah, that was bad. So, I mean, there is going to be some of that. And, I mean, like I said, I don't know if you pick a spawn point for flag. I find you spawn pretty far off the flags, too.
In this one, you do. You spawn way far away.
Yeah, like you pick A because you see it burning. Oh shit, I got spawn A, and it's like, oh, you're fucking out in the farmer's field, like
you're closer to B than you are to A.
Yeah, I heard you like to run.
it's a fucking exercise simulator.
Hope you don't need to get to this objective quick.
Yeah, because you're not gonna.
Yeah. I've already had more instances of goofy spawns getting me kills I should not have gotten and getting me dead in the week. Than I ever had in Battlefield 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's much more prevalent in this game too.
Well.
All right. Well, if that's everything, I think that we're ready to wrap this up.
Yeah, I think so.
So Dice, you have now the list that we created for you to address. So
you now have
problem solved.
The secret ingredients to the perfect game.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for the record, if you had consulted us ahead of time, we totally would have gave you all this information.
Exactly.
Totally.
Absolutely.
If you had to give us alpha access.
Right.
It makes me wonder, just because some of these problems are extremely apparent. You know, squads, number 1. Progression, number 2. Spawning is something that we've all noticed also. These things are, and the menus being super laggy. QA should have caught all this shit. I mean, this isn't. I don't think like something that they couldn't have foreseen because of a player count or like the servers being over. This is the design of the game.
This isn't their first game either.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, there's, I wasn't expecting this to be a shining diamond for sure, but it's definitely not a polished piece of shit. So
No, and as much as now we've been bashing for the majority of the podcast, these gripes are extremely fixable. And in spite of all these gripes, I think it's pretty safe to say that all of us absolutely love this game.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely. I'm not playing.
It's
I want to play
fantastic.
it, so I mean there's always going to be something you're not happy with.
Yeah.
But I mean, like if there's some of these can be cleaned up, it can make everyone's experience that much better. Because I think hopefully a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah.
But
well, on that note, that's a perfect lead in. If you guys feel the same way, leave us a comment. Let us know. Of course, if you guys have any questions, any points that we missed or that you wanted to expand upon, let us know. Drop us a message. Also, we're going to have a link in the YouTube description of this video to SoundCloud. So if you've got the SoundCloud app, you can listen to the podcast there. Check us out. And thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed. And we will see you guys later on the battlefield.